The passing of Kim Sung-jae raises a wave of questions even 26 years after it happened. A tragedy in its true meaning, Kim Sung-jae's life was cut short out of nowhere, seemingly for no reason. As we dive deeper into the case, it becomes more and more apparent who is responsible for his unexpected farewell. But even after 2 decades, there still hasn't been any justice served, and that's the reason why this case is so twisted. Before we get into what really happened between November 19th and November 20th in 1995, let's talk about Kim Sung-jae and what he achieved through his short but successful life and why this case was so big. Sung-jae was born on April 18th, 1972, and he got everything that it takes to be a true all-rounder in K-pop. Not only was he a great singer and rapper, he had developed some incredible dancing skills too, and he was also a part-time model, which isn't surprising considering how great he looked. Sung-jae shone the most as a member of Deuce, a first-generation K-pop and hip-hop group that gained the most success and prominence in the early 90s. Deuce consisted of Kim Sung-jae and Lee Hyun-do, and they debuted in 1993. Deuce was considered to be one of the most influential groups of the 90s. Not only did they introduce hip-hop music to the Korean audience, they also attracted a lot of attention because of their dance and style. Their fan base was growing each day, and they were on their way to become the biggest K-pop act of that era. Unfortunately, in 1995, Deuce suddenly disbanded as the members couldn't agree artistically anymore and decided to pursue solo careers instead. Sung-jae made his solo debut on November 19th, 1995 by releasing the song As I Told You. I'm sure many of you might know this song because a lot of K-pop groups have covered this song at some point in their careers. The most prominent cover of As I Told You is the one BTS did in 2016. For most idols, their debut day is the happiest of their lives. For Kim Sung-jae though, this day would become his last. Life cut short. Kim Sung-jae had his solo debut with As I Told You at Music Bank on November 19th, 1995. As told by Greasy TV on YouTube, he arrived at a hotel along with his manager, 2 foreign backup dancers, 4 Korean backup dancers, and lastly, his girlfriend. When these people were interrogated later on, they all claimed that they just hung out in the common room and had a couple of beers together. After a while, around 1 a.m., all the backup dancers called it a night and went to their respective rooms. Sung-jae's manager also decided to head to bed, so then it was only Kim Sung-jae and his girlfriend left alone in the living room. There's an important fact to remember that will explain a lot of things later in the story. It's known that before the manager went to sleep, he turned on the dryer. Now, this type of dryer will automatically turn off after 2 hours and 15 minutes. Around 6 a.m., the manager went to the living room and saw Kim Sung-jae still asleep on the couch, or so he thought. At first, after the manager tried to wake him up and failed, the manager didn't think much of it. It could have been because the singer had been preparing for his solo stage extremely hard and was just exhausted, right? Well, not really. The manager tried to wake him up again, and this time, he started to think that something was wrong. That's when the manager also realized the dryer was still running, even though it should have stopped around 3 a.m. The manager went back to check on the singer once again, and that's when he realized that the singer wasn't breathing, it was unresponsive. On November 20th, Kim Sung-jae was pronounced. Mind you, he was just 23 years old. But what truly happened? Did he pass away naturally, or was it under the hands of someone else? That's where things get messy. All signs point to her. At first, Sung-jae's passing was ruled as cardiac arrest. Since he had a pretty large fan base, rumors started to spread around quickly. Some people claimed that the singer was actually addicted to substances and he simply overdosed, which was following the rumors about the singer being a drug addict from the beginning of his career. There have even been rumors that Kim Sung-jae took his own life, but this has quickly been proven as false. According to the singer's mother, Kim Sung-jae was really excited about his solo career. He had good connections with his friends and family and even promised to his mother to see her after he debuts. Of course, it's still possible for a person to take their own life even though they seem perfectly fine, but this wasn't Kim Sung-jae's case. Then the results of the autopsy and toxicology report came in. Kim Sung-jae had 28 needle marks in his right arm. This could still mean that Kim Sung-jae overdosed, right? But he didn't. The toxicology report took a while to arrive because the professionals couldn't identify the substance in his body. After a while, it was revealed that animal sedatives such as animal anesthesia and animal euthanizer were the unknown substances. It's also rumored that the reason why the toxicology report took a while longer to be done than the autopsy is because it was actually the first time someone had been killed by the usage of animal sedatives and animal euthanizer in South Korea. Now it was obvious that Sung-jae didn't pass away due to natural reasons. So who was the one behind it? Well, there's only one person that was with the singer at the time of his last breath. Because of the placement of the needle shots in Kim Sung-jae's arms, it was obvious that someone had to inject those needles into him. It would be really tricky and difficult for Kim Sung-jae to do it to himself, mainly because he was right-handed and usually your opposite hand is the weaker one. It would be hard for him to find the right veins to inject the substances into as well. But do you know who was was very skilled with needles? Kim Sung-jae's girlfriend. To this day, we don't know what her name is for sure, although it was speculated her name could be Kim Yoo-sun. It's reported that his girlfriend was a medical student, so she must have had a good knowledge of the human body, which would also explain the 28 needle marks, as she was likely aware that she needed to inject little by little since substances like these can clog up the human veins. A witness later came in to report that they sold Sung-jae's girlfriend those animal sedatives and euthanizer. This witness also shared that Sung-jae's girlfriend told them not to tell the police she bought those drugs from them if they ever asked. This is going to sound insane, but allegedly his girlfriend previously killed her own dog and replaced it with the same breed to see if those drugs really work. She sounds like a psychopath, which she might as well be considering the way she acted towards Kim Sung-jae throughout their relationship. It has been reported by many people that Sung-jae and his girlfriend had a pretty rocky relationship. At some point, she allegedly went on stage during one of his concerts and screamed at the fans, "Leave my boyfriend alone." Whenever Sung-jae's fans would approach him, his girlfriend would throw a fit and would do everything she could to stop them. His girlfriend was also a borderline stalker, as she always contacted his friends to find out what Sung-jae was doing. She also apparently fired a gas gun towards Kim Sung-jae's face and actually shot him the night before he was supposed to leave for the US. On one instance, Sung-jae allegedly got really drunk and his girlfriend got mad at him for drinking, and so while he was sleeping, she actually tied him to the bed with duct tape. It was also said that Sung-jae actually broke up with his girlfriend before he went to the US, so maybe she did all of this to get back at him for breaking her heart? Now let's talk about the dryer again. Remember how the manager noticed the dryer was still running at 6 a.m. even though it should have stopped sometime around 3 a.m.? Well, it's believed that before Sung-jae's girlfriend left the hotel room at 3:30 a.m., she turned the dryer on. No one knows why, but investigators had played with the possibility of her turning it on to drown out any sounds as she mercilessly took Sung-jae's life. I've already mentioned before that the cause of the passing was concluded as cardiac arrest. At some point, although it's not clear when or why, his autopsy was changed and the cause of the passing was concluded as something else because once all the evidence started to pop up, his girlfriend actually went and requested for the cause of passing to be changed back to cardiac arrest. Allegedly, she also tried to bribe the police with money to stop them from examining Sung-jae's body completely. Definitely suspicious. The police also did a really bad job at investigating the crime scene and looking for more clues. There was CCTV around the hotel, but the police made zero effort to check the footage. When Sung-jae's mother was asked to come and identify the body, she noticed something that didn't sit right with her. She said that no matter the time or place, Sung-jae always took off his makeup before going to sleep. But when she went to identify him, she noticed that his hair was still done and he still had a lot of makeup on. This seemingly unimportant detail defines the timeline of Sung-jae's passing a little more. There's a high chance that Sung-jae was attacked before he even managed to go to bed. Sung-jae's girlfriend didn't even try hard enough to hide any evidence, and so it came as no surprise that at first, she was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison for the murder of Kim Sung-jae, though no one was prepared for what came next. The unexpected twist. During the first trial, the girlfriend was sentenced to life in prison, but that would soon change. Over the course of the second and third trial, his girlfriend was actually found not guilty. Despite all the evidence pointing towards her, the court said that there was actually a lack of evidence that would directly point towards Sung-jae's girlfriend. How could they possibly think that it was someone else when she was the one who purchased those sedatives, not to mention that she was a medical student and she was so possessive over him? She was really like, if I can't have him, then no one can. But unfortunately, she took it too far. The court also argued that the amount of the sedative she purchased was not actually enough to kill Sung-jae. The witness, who at first reported that they sold the sedatives to Sung-jae's girlfriend, later changed their testimony and claimed that they actually didn't remember anything. The reason why it suddenly took such a sudden and strange turn could be the background of Sung-jae's girlfriend. Apparently, someone in her family had a political background, and although it's not known who exactly, it wouldn't be that strange for her to pay her lawyers, the officials, and even the court to overturn the verdict. It wouldn't be the first time someone used their wealth and power to their advantage so they didn't have to face the consequences of their actions. Her lawyer also argued that she did indeed buy those animal sedatives, but they were for her own use as she intended to take her own life, but decided not to go through with it at the last second. I mean, this just sounds super sketchy. Their relationship was also painted in a completely different light. Apparently, they were super happy together and there was no conflict going on between them. Her defense team also tried to throw the blame on one of the foreign backup dancers. Their story was that one of the dancers felt negative emotions towards Sung-jae and they just couldn't hold in their anger anymore. It does look a little suspicious considering that they allegedly left to go back to the States just a day after, but there's still way more evidence pointing towards the girlfriend than to the backup dancers. What's also incredibly frustrating about this whole case is the way that the law system works in South Korea. If a person had been previously charged but later was acquitted, they cannot be charged again even if they are found guilty after some time. Obviously, Sung-jae's passing made headlines all over South Korea and a lot of people people were absolutely devastated. Understandably so, especially when in the end no one seemed to be responsible for his death. After some time, Sungjae's case went cold and it would always pop up just for a little while. That was until 2019, when the woman who Sungjae once called his girlfriend started to look even more suspicious. Fighting for justice. Fast forward to the present. It's said that Sungjae's girlfriend changed her name and underwent numerous plastic surgeries to change her appearance. She's also been working at a dentist clinic along with her husband and is living lavishly, while Sungjae's family, and especially his brother, are still fighting to get Sungjae the justice he deserves. Back in December of 2019, an episode of SBS's Unanswered Questions regarding Sungjae's passing was supposed to air. Turns out a court order actually prevented the broadcast from airing. Sungjae's brother, Kim Sung-wook, shared, "I don't understand the court's decision. We don't want to punish anyone, but want to know the truth about what happened that day. The biggest reason is that my mom should know the truth about what happened. It's her only wish." Kim Sung-wook has been fighting for his brother ever since Sungjae passed, and it doesn't seem like he will ever stop, even though everything has seemed to be against him. The reason why the episode about Sungjae wasn't aired is because of Sungjae's girlfriend, now going by Mrs. Kim, filed a provisional injunction to forbid the broadcast. Back then, the court ruled, "It is difficult to say that this is a broadcast made solely for the public interest. There is a risk that it could cause irreparable damage to Mrs. Kim's character and honor." The production staff of Unanswered Questions expressed their deep regret at the ban, but complied with the court ruling nonetheless. There wasn't much that they could do anyways. The production staff said, "This episode tackled an unsolved case that has many unanswered questions and in which the public has a high level of interest. It was an opportunity to interview experts of newly developed scientific techniques that may have shed some light on the case, and we spent 5 months researching and collecting material for the story." Skipping a few months to December of 2019, SBS tried to air the episode of Unanswered Questions once again, but was blocked from doing so for the second time, and it was once again because of Mrs. Kim. The court accepted Mrs. Kim's request for injunction and said, "The previous broadcast and this broadcast differ in reasoning only, but in the end they both suggest that the filer of the injunction might have committed." The court also determined that the broadcast contains information which hasn't been confirmed, such as that Mrs. Kim injected Sungjae with magnesium sulfate and that she has actually purchased more of the animal sedatives than it was said before. Unanswered Questions responded to the court ruling, "We respect the decision of the court, but we are deeply frustrated. So long as we continue to receive information on the case, we will continue to look further into the matter." My heart goes out to Sungjae's family, who have been looking for answers for 26 years without much success. It must be incredibly hard to not know what happened to their beloved son and brother. While it's understandable that SBS had to follow the court ruling, it's obvious that Mrs. Kim doesn't want the episode to air because the world will probably learn the full truth. And now that she's basically built a completely new life for her, she wouldn't want that taken away from her, would she? Lee Hyun-do, a person who made Deuce Complete, shared a story about Kim Sung-jae on a broadcast one day. He started off by saying that he and Sung-jae fought a lot before Sung-jae left the US to have his solo debut stage in Korea. According to Hyun-do, as Sung-jae was leaving, he gave him a smile, bid him goodbye, and gave his hand for a handshake. Hyun-do didn't take it. On that day, Hyun-do had a strange dream where he and Sung-jae had just finished a schedule and had many fans approaching them with flowers. What Hyun-do found weird was that all the fans went to Hyun-do and gave their flowers to him. No one went to Sung-jae, who could only smile at them from afar. When Hyun-do went to him and gave him some flowers, Sung-jae only said, "It's okay, I'm gonna get tons of flowers tomorrow." This story gives me the chills. Let me know in the comments below if you feel the same way about it as I do. Thank you for watching and have a great day.